I say, whoa, now, Dad say, now, Dad, whoa, it's your man's and I'm the Toothless Wonder back on the Bamboozled Again News Network. Um, just coming through with, just, daily report, and I've had, former co-workers or friends of mine reach out to me through inbox or whatever the case may be. And they all seem to be alluding to the same thing. They paraphrase it different. But from my spiritual clinical synopsis, if you will, seems like a lot of, people have reached out to me personally are dealing with a lot of, as I like to call it, now they might not understand it as this spiritual warfare, or as they've called it in various terms, a heaviness of the soul. And myself as well am, actively going through this. Granted, because of my, journey, I can now identify, understand it for what it is, what it means, and, navigate such accordingly. Typically, I tend to just lean into it. I don't try to distract myself or like other than, mitigating stuff like exercise or nature or solitude, self-reflection, but I tend to embrace it. I'm of the belief that just like, okay, if a tree, let's say in Florida, those trees are stronger than most trees because they're met with the resistance of the wind of hurricanes. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we don't want to get stronger by that. Or, like I said, I'm ready, after this, I'll go into Planet Fitness. And I'm getting some, strength gains, right? But it's the resistance that creates the strength. You know what I mean? So let's say I go to the gym and I'm able to bench press 225, I don't know, 10 times, right? That's pretty decent. You know what I'm saying? In my book, at my age, whatever the case may be. Now, to someone observing from the outside, it looks easy to me. They're not understanding that it took me time to be able to gain the strength to push that amount of weight that many times. You see what I'm saying? Um, it's the only way you get stronger. So it's still the same amount of weight. It's just because you've been pushing it for so long, it seems easier or seems effortlessly to people on the outside looking in who may just be starting their journey or things of that nature. And let's say there's a brother who can do it 20 times, he can see your progress. And he can give you tips on how to maximize different exercises to use that would increase it. You see what I'm saying? I would like to believe I'm kind of in a middle ground. But amongst my people, I'm probably, not that we judge or compare in the spiritual walk, everybody's on their journey wherever they at with it. But, brothers who have been, very enlightening to me. And a lot of times it wasn't that they told me something new. They actually told me something um, in their words that I had already told myself. But because of my social circle at various times, I'm like, what is it correct what I'm perceiving? Because I can't really gauge it because nobody else is on this track around me at work, school, wherever I may be at. So then you start second guessing yourself, like, am I? Woo woo da da da. But then there's this preeminent feeling of, nah, I can't be wrong though, even though I have no evidence outwardly or tangibly rather to validate this feeling that's deep down in my gut that says you're not wrong with no evidence. You see what I'm saying? So as they say in the recovery world, you have to trust the process. And I'll take it to a more spiritual lens of just trusting the process of the Most High, in which no matter what situation now, of course, it's easier said than done, but no matter what situation we find ourselves in, and myself, with various issues that I've talked about on here, I gotta trust it's off my good. Now, do I get tired? Yeah. Do I get frustrated? Yeah. Do I tend to maybe overanalyze and overthink? Yeah. Um, but I still press forward and press in and do what is practical on a daily basis to, one, fight the war, two, maintain myself, and three, make sure I don't trend in the opposite direction. So let's say hypothetically, okay, like my master sensei Woody Curry gave it to me, right? And I know this to be true now from practice, right? Because I'm tending to be more intellectualized, right? So that actually hindered me in getting sober because you're attempting to understand something you've never done. As he told me, you don't have to understand it for it to work. You just have to do it. But then in my mind, I'm like, well, why would I do it if I don't understand it? You see what I'm saying? See, I was getting in my own way for the longest. Just like with spiritual principles or fasting, praying, if you're starting out or whatever, you don't understand it. But again, you're not going to understand it. You just have to do it. Or like when I talk to my child about certain things, because of my perspective, you're probably not going to understand everything I tell you. And I'm banking on the fact you're probably not going to understand. But you have to trust that I have your best interest at heart. Haven't I shown that to this point? Well, yeah. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the space a lot of people are in. I just wanted to, hop on here and just kind of categorize that and give some insight into my journey up until this point. You know what I'm saying? And it's actually all the warfare that I didn't understand at the time to be that gave me the skill set, attributes, wisdom, intuition to navigate a very parasitical social climate that we find ourselves in. So it was almost like the Most High stopped me in my tracks, right? To take me through the spiritual boot camp, per se, of isolation, disappointment, delays, things not making any sense, inwardly or outwardly. And then it seemed like roughly about 2 years ago, as I continued on my path and trusted my intuition that told me to leave a job, that told me to take certain risks, right? It put me on a path to a breakthrough, again, like I said, and I thought the door was closed on it. It seemed like at that point, almost magically, within a 2 to 3 day period, he folded time up, and now I'm on par with everybody, right? So now he places me back into, let's say, the animal kingdom, right? But now because of my training, I can effectively navigate the animal kingdom amongst animals. I can identify who's a threat, who's not. This animal does this. This animal does that. This animal only poses a threat in this type of situation. So to those people that know me now, how I've been able to Manu Ginobili side, Euro step past certain temptations, certain, I guess, plots and schemes that were subtly levied against me. And it wasn't always so much so that I intellectually recognized it, as I like to call it, my spidey sense start tingling. You see what I'm saying? And as the SRBG man said last night, if you go through, a lot of isolation that quote unquote chosen ones go through, you're going to have, you end up by default developing a relationship with yourself. Because a lot of people, from what I've seen now on this side of things, don't know who they are. And I was at a space like that. But now it's totally, even though I used to do that and be that, now it is totally foreign to me to be not in touch with myself at all times. I'm constantly counseling myself. One part of me want to do this, but then the CEO aspect of who I am that I constructed and placed over top of that tells me, nah, don't do that. Yeah, but we ain't gonna do that though. And it holds veto power. I don't know if I'm wording this correctly, but I'm under the belief now that might actually just be the Holy Spirit, yo. But I'm thinking it's just another aspect or component of me that I've gained in this journey without stepping off. Now, I've made mistakes based on not having all the information or something along those lines. But I can't remember in recent history last time I knew I shouldn't do something and did it anyway. I don't want no parts of that. I actually enjoy now going through the suffering and not doing anything that I know I shouldn't in an attempt to alleviate the suffering. That's what I was going to say. This is what my master sensei told me, right? Let's say I deal with loneliness, right? It's a feeling. But if I feel lonely. So typically you want to solve an emotional problem. So if you're lonely, you want to be not lonely, which means you'll go deal with somebody, which is probably unwise, right? So that gives the feeling the ability to dictate your behavior. You just embrace the loneliness. Or if let's say you're angry, you're mad, right? Just sit with the feeling. If, like another brother of mine, you say, if you don't know what to do, don't do nothing. So I'm angry. But if I feed into the anger, it's probably going to give me some detrimental consequences that will then create more feelings and so on and so forth. as it says in the word, be angry and sin not. So I'm angry, right? I want to knock somebody out, just using it as an example. I just sit with the anger, unless they pose a tangible threat. But I just sit with the anger. And then what ends up happening, from my experience, is your feelings lose the power to influence your behavior and your movements. So you're not led by your emotions. You see what I'm saying? And especially as a man, you're not really, especially now, we're not in no position to be led by our emotions. As I would tell the brothers, when I was working at the treatment spot, you can feel whatever. And I can't tell you what you're feeling ain't valid. However, you're still going to have to critically think in the midst of it. I want to leave treatment, but I ain't got nowhere to go. That's probably unwise, but you feel that way because you're frustrated because things aren't going your way. That's going to happen. I've been through it. But if the emotion of frustration makes you leave here and you have nowhere to go and you haven't learned anything, and you probably, as such as myself, done it before and then had to pray to God to save you, you know what I mean? That feeling is making you behave in a way that's against your best interest. Oh, I should leave because this XYZ, but I don't go anywhere. You see what I'm saying? I might go through, the desire for a woman, but it's just a desire. But I don't hit the streets or go looking or something along those lines, because how would that benefit me? And I know that now, having gone through the process and, seen not only just that, but seeing the mistakes of others attempt to do that. And I'm like, wow, woo-wee. I said. And, us as men, right, we're human, so we have emotions. Like, we just can't, or we're not afforded the opportunity, nor would it be opportunity, to lead or to make decisions based on emotion. That's why they say you should never make a decision when you're in an emotional state, whatever the emotion may be. Let's say you're going through grief, or such as myself. You know what I'm saying? I'll put it on me. Let's say I'm going through grief. Boy, this sucks. But in order to alleviate the grief, it's unwise for me to go get a beer or smoke a joint. You see what I'm saying? Because then that's going to create more problems on top of the problem I already got. And it really don't alleviate the actual feeling. It might subdue it for some, but the grief's still there. And now you're just heaping more action to pronounce the grief to a greater level. So now you grieving, and now you've opened up Pandora's box. Now you're back in active addiction. You don't have no say-so in what happens in life. The key is just how you effectively deal with it. Of course, it's easier said than done. No diggity, no doubt. I'll be honest, sometimes I pray certain stuff don't happen. But if it do, I got to deal with it. What else am I? Because if I don't deal with it, it's going to deal with me. And I don't like getting my hind parts handed to me. I like at least getting in the fight. It pieced me up a couple times. But I'm still upright. This one of them fights where as long as you don't hit the mat, you win by default. Using the boxing analogy, it seemed like for the longest, I couldn't even, all I could do, they ring the bell, the life, you know what I'm saying, would just run down on me and just wail on me. I ain't even got time to shoot a jab out there, get them up off of it or nothing. All I could do seemingly was curl up on the corner or curl up against the ropes, protect, my chin piece and, stuff like that, and just take the blows and hope I stand up long enough for the bell so I can get some rest to go back out there and take some more punishment. You know what I'm saying? But then what started happening, using the boxing analogy, you know what I'm saying? I guess life got winded a little bit. I've conserved energy. I know I can take a few punches. And this isn't one of those things you're going to knock it out. You just went on the scorecards by just not hitting the mat. And hypothetically, let's say you do hit the mat. You just got to get up for the 10 count. You can get knocked down 17 times. As long as you get back up, your head could look like Mark when he fought like Tommy Hearns. When it's all said and done with, so long as you got up at the final bell, you win. That's the way this boxing match set up. But then, after a while of taking all this punishment, right? Left hook, that might have been court. Straight jab down the pike, that might have been female. You know what I'm saying? Nice kidney shot. Oh, my homeboy turned against me. Then you get a little reprieve, when the bell rings. You come out, You know what I'm saying? You try to get one out there. No, sir. Here come the Mike Tyson uppercut. You know what I'm saying? Financial woes. Oh, boy, I see style. Oh, let me get up against the ropes. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? That go on. But when we get into the later rounds, I'm not realizing that the adversary is getting, I don't know, I think the adversary is getting a little more winded because it hadn't dropped me yet. And I had to take a few standing 8 counts. But this time I come out, he don't rush, he don't run quickly on me. So I'm like, shoot, I ain't seen this in a minute. Let me just throw a couple jabs out here. I land a couple jabs. That make you feel good. You know what I'm saying? You might get a nice, you know what I'm saying? Most High get the eyeball. You know what I'm saying? You see the left hook combo open. Bink, bink. Oh, snap, that feel good. Now I will get beat up the whole fight, but now I'm down. Now I got my flojo back. Oh, snap, I done landed a few. Confidence through the roof. Then what happened? You know what I'm saying? I ain't styling too much because I still remember the punishment in the early rounds. So I ain't leave myself open. You know, I style a little bit, but I ain't just going super duper dumb. You know what I mean? Then for a period, you know what I'm saying? I'm timing it right. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking good out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the fight. And then for a second, and this happened like recently, where it felt like I'm throwing my shots right, but I'm not landing. So, you know, if you throw shots and don't land, that tires you out more so than landing or throwing punches and landing. So now I'm like, yo, I'm swinging, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just not connecting. Now I'm getting tired. Now I get hit with a counter. Uh-oh, here we go. Now I still remember to beat down the first couple rounds. Oh, boy, here we go again. But so I just got to, now because of what I've learned throughout the fight when I went to the corner, I'm not going to be able to land right now. So I'm not just balled up, just taking blows. I'm shooting, you know, jabs out there, or I'm swinging back, but I'm not landing. But I'm sparing with it. It's not, I can't land right now. But if I get past this wave, you know what I'm saying? If I get past this wave, right, I'll be back to do what I was doing and having success at it. I just got to know where I'm at with it in the fight. Because like I said, you're not going to knock it out. You in this for the long haul. So every now and again, I can, you know, tap the chin a little bit, one of them little backup jab, bink, bink, you know what I mean? Oh, it ain't really doing no damage. It's just keeping them up off of me. But I can't put them 3 and 4 piece combos together because it leave me open for the counter. And I see that. But the counter was working earlier. It's just not going to work now. But if I time it right, I'll be back in the fight. You see what I'm saying? I can move around the ring. You know what I mean? I can dance a little bit. I can, you know, keep the commentator saying, oh, you know what I mean? That's all it is. That's all it is in relation to me using the boxing analogy to spiritual warfare. It's just understanding what season you in. Like, it's totally unwise to plant a tomato seed right now in November here in Maryland. That would make no sense. But what I should do is, knowing that I can't plant no seed right now, even though the ground is barren, let me enrich the soil so that in due time, when it is time to plant the seed, that it'll grow and I'll reap a harvest. And on that note, I'm going to holler at y'all. Oh,